Hello, welcome back to Crit Couch. I'm Michael.
And I'm Skylar.
And we're going to go back in here and get the magic wand.
Did you miss the piss color dungeon? Well, it's lucky for you, we're going right back in.
Yeah, on the bright side, we know which side of the dungeon it's on.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of interesting, the wand. So the wand lets you do what the little whiz robes are doing and shoot out the little, like, crescent arcs. But what's interesting about that is when you get to level 8, there are 2 items there. And one of them makes the little magic beam leave a fireball when it, like, strikes something. So there is actually like a circumstance where 2 items interact with one another. And I think it's the only... Oh, God. More whiz robes. Die whiz robes.
I mean, they look like they're having a good time. They got their hands in the air like they just don't care.
Yeah, they're fucking part... Wow, man. That's,
Woo. There is just such a creepy little smiley face and those blinky things. The little...
Oh, yeah, the little skull that's in there?
Yeah, it's... Oh, is that... It is supposed to be a skull?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, it kind of looks like a smiley face.
I see what you're talking about, like where the bottom of the kind of skull area is.
I see the skull now, too, as you mention it.
In the new game, because there is like a second quest for this, which we're not going to do the second quest because it's, I mean, just like a remixed version of the first quest. There's nothing like, there's no new items or anything. There's just stuff hidden in different areas. But the blue, the little blinky skulls actually are split out into blue and red skulls. And in this version of things...
Wow, that just became your little turtle hole, huh?
Yep. But in this version of things, when the little blinky skull hits you, you just temporarily lose the ability to interact with stuff. In that version, the red skulls, you just lose your ability. Ha 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 ha! Fuck you.
But there's one that was invisible.
No, when you hit the clock, they all appear. There were just 2 of them stacked on top of one another.
Gotcha.
But the red skulls permanently make you lose your ability to use your sword, and you have to touch a blue skull to get it back.
Oh, that's weird.
So now we have the magic wand, and we can be whiz robes and Miss Bats. Fuck. We can be whiz robes.
Is there any advantage to that over being like the full health shoot your sword thing?
So I don't actually know what the power level of this thing is. It's clearly enough to kill those in one shot without splitting them into the 2 little slimes. Like, because if this is way back, but if you just hit them with the wooden sword, they split into 2 different slimes.
Mm-hmm. We far exceeded the wooden sword.
I don't remember if the Whizzle. I don't think the whistle. Yeah, because in later Zelda games, like
Whistle.
It's the Whizzle.
It's like the sequel to The Wiz.
We're off to see the Whizzle, the wonderful Whizzle of...
What are your opinions on...
What was that?
What are your opinions of... So I've only learned about this recently, but folks will do like modded playthroughs of different games where...
Oh, that's so cool!
What did it do?
They're immune to the magic. That's actually a really cool touch. I've never tried using...
Because it's their magic?
Yeah, that's really cool. Huh. I mean, it's kind of not cool because it takes away a tool to kill them, but like conceptually, it's interesting.
Why would their own tools work against them? Yeah.
Okay, so
wow, okay.
Well, no, I think this is as strong as the white sword. Anyway,
what sword do we have?
We have the magic sword.
Okay.
Because we last playthrough we were able to get the magic sword because we had enough. We had 12 hearts or whatever. So I think you were going to ask my thoughts on modded playthroughs.
Yeah. So I saw this with like Soul series stuff, which makes sense. But I've seen it on a couple other games too. But it'll like, oh gosh, what?
This is just quick travel.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I thought it was just like, time to gamble, kid. the Cellar of Doom where you just die, or I don't know.
We weren't ever able to actually find one of the, and I didn't bother to look it up in the break. We weren't able to find one of the like old men that makes you pay them when you burn down their house, like their door or whatever.
Nice. Okay, so
right,
modded games where what they'll do is they'll almost like randomize certain elements of the game. So
yeah.
I've seen this with like some of the Souls series. I've seen it with some Pokemon playthroughs, which are really interesting because it'll be like, oh, what are your 3 starters? And it'll be like, it'll be like a Chansey, a Diglett, and Lugia. Like
it's okay. So no challenge.
Well, they're still
I know.
like level 5 though.
Sure.
So it's still like it's following some of the same rules, but you can encounter just these wild damn things. But yeah, just like these randomizers. Anyways, I was curious if you'd heard of those, or because of what you were just kind of talking about with this, it almost feels like, oh, that's almost an extension of it in some way, or like a predecessor where it's the same game, but like just tweaking things into a more unpredictable, well, maybe not unpredictable, but a different.
So, I mean, those exist even for games like Zelda. Like there are Zelda randomizers, there are Link to the Past randomizers.
Yeah,
these are all things that like there is a community of people who like that. So this kind of gets into the roguelike conversation, which I personally am not a fan of roguelike stuff. And this is not a...
That means he hates you. Like, comment, and subscribe if you think he's an asshole.
That'll probably get us the most likes, comments, and subscribes from the people who aren't watching in the first place.
This is the viral video right here.
I personally am not a fan of roguelikes, and part of it's because I prefer more curated experiences. There are games with randomization that I do like. Like, I like Warframe. I did play a lot of Diablo back in the day. Stuff like that. But as I've gotten older, like, the idea of infinite replayability doesn't mean as much to me. And I understand that, like, part of the appeal of roguelikes to a lot of people is the idea that you can spend $20 or $30 on something and play it for hundreds and hundreds of hours.
I'm only going to interrupt for just a second.
Yeah.
I'll actually share a pet peeve of mine.
Sure.
Just remind me afterwards. Playability, and I'll know what you're talking about.
Okay. So where I run into problems is like let's look at Hades as an example, because Hades is a game that I did play through quite a bit, which is uncharacteristic of me as somebody who doesn't really like that kind of style. There was a lot of charm in Hades. I mean, I like Supergiant games.
Hades is just a hunk anyways, so he's fine. Or whatever his name is.
Crap, I don't even remember the character's name. But, like, I love Bastion. I love the style of Transistor. It wasn't really... The gameplay was a little slower than I wanted. But, I mean, I am a fan of Supergiant games. But... So, Hades' style and the kind of, like, story stuff in it carried the game. I'm farming rupees here so I can buy some potions.
Oh. It's like, what are we doing here?
But, even that eventually wore me out, because at the end of the day, like, my every gameplay session is affected by the things you find. And as somebody who likes to practice a lot and get better at things, I find it maddening to have my ability to practice at builds be just wildly deviated by the randomness of the relics that I run into, especially when, like, roguelikes and roguelites and whatever, they increasingly have, like, more and more variations of builds and things that you can find and that sort of thing, and I just don't find it fun. I also find that in a lot of times, like, the intricacy of a level design suffers from having that. because when you can't predict and this is going to rely on like what your relics or other things do to the player's ability to play. So like, sorry, I've been kind of talking at this for a bit here.
No, it's a good subject. I've got something to add to it as well.
Yeah, basically, I find that like
he went up in the menu.
yeah, I'm not supposed to be there. Shit.
Whoops.
It is harder to design levels that acclimate all different potential play styles with relevance that also allows people to continue to progress. So at some point, you have to just you either have to not make challenges that are mandatory, or you have to dilute the challenges that are there so that all of your skill sets can actually be used to progress. And I just don't find that as interesting. Or you just go strictly the action combat route. And so like, Hades, again, as an example here, most of what you're doing in those levels isn't really navigating. Like at most, maybe you're dashing over some lava or ground effects or whatever, but the actual like environmental and traversal puzzles are pretty much non-existent in favor of just different ways of killing your enemies, and it just gets repetitious, especially like if you're forced to play in a way that you don't like because of the relics that you found. And again, this is just a preference thing, but if that is your preference, then those are the types of struggles I think you run into with roguelikes. Anyway, I'll turn this over to you, and you were saying something about playability as a reminder.
We'll come back to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I never think of myself as much of a roguelike player, but when I really think about it, I actually quite like roguelikes.
Because what was that? The
Returnal.
Returnal, yeah.
Yeah, Returnal goes hard. That is a tough game. Someone's gonna be like, Returnal's easy, but no, I really enjoyed that. And if anything, like what I really loved about it. Now they've added a like checkpoint feature since, but for me, I think there was some joy in like being able to sit down and be like, I'm gonna do 2 runs, and just see like how far I can get on both of these runs or something. And it could be, because you're talking about like the variability of it. What weapons do I find? What relics am I picking up? What parasites show up in Returnal, and kind of running through and seeing like, okay, how far can I get? And there being a lot of joy in that, like it's almost like I'm just playing a game, like like its own little. Here's a good way to put it. It's almost like arcade experience, right?
Yeah.
It's like hey, I'm gonna go as far as my quarters last me almost, and just getting this little like piece, and it's like, oh, maybe I'll go really far this time, or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll make it to the boss and actually succeed. Maybe I'll blow it in like stage 3 because I just whiffed it and accidentally like ran into way too strong of a boss before I have the weaponry to take care of it. And this is a dungeon?
Yeah. Just so everybody knows, and so you know what happened here, when you play the whistle on this screen,
the Whizzle, yeah,
the Whizzle, yeah, when you whiz on this screen, sorry, I just had this image of Link like pulling this thing out, and it just starts leaking like yellow liquid. It's like, what did I do? What did I just put in my mouth?
Why is it slimy?
Dude, that's not what pee is supposed to be like. Like,
oh, I thought it's not supposed to be like viscous.
Are you a car?
I'll go see a doctor.
Like, is that motor oil? Like, what is happening to you? Maybe lay off the sweets. Like,
yeah.
I don't.
But no, I think there's a certain charm in roguelikes. So, and for me, and again, just because like he was sharing his opinions on how he engages with those, like,
yeah.
As he was talking, I realized, oh, I actually really like roguelikes now that I think about it. That said, I don't pursue them very often. It's kind of occasionally I'll play one and I'll play quite a bit of it, but then eventually I've like had my experience, and it's like, all right, I'm good. I got really far in Returnal though. I did a lot in that game. I love the atmosphere and the way they present some of the story elements and stuff. It was very enjoyable. I can't wait to see what that company, was it House Mark or something like that?
Yeah, and I think Sony acquired them too after that.
Yes, I'm very interested to see what they do next.
Was Returnal the game where somebody got... I remember reading an article about this, and we're going to finish off the episode with this little thought, where...
I'll share my pet peeve at the start of the next episode.
Yeah, where like somebody had played it, because there might have been another roguelike or something that came out at the same time that was kind of in a similar vein, and I don't remember if it was that one or Returnal, but basically somebody had played the game so much that they were able to like go from start to finish in like an hour. And,
oh my god.
And somebody in the comments was like, of course somebody in the comments was like bitching about how you know what a waste of money, like, and it's like, my guy, that the amount of playtime that it took them to get to where they could beat the game in 1 hour, like, that's not you. You're not that dude. Like,
no.
You are not starting up Returnal, or if it was, I don't remember if it was Returnal or whatever this other one is that might have come out at the same time. It doesn't really matter, because either way, that's not you.
That takes so much practice.
Yeah, you are not the person who starts this game up and goes from 0 to 100 in 1 hour, and they're like, I wasted my $70. Like, no.
It reminds me.
That's hundreds of hours.
We were just talking about this off mic about the Monday morning coaches, or the Monday morning quarterbacks.
Yeah, or like another term for that's armchair psychology sort of stuff or whatever. Anyway, there's a secret to the tip of the nose. What a place to end this episode.
Did you know there was a second G-spot?
Link just walks into the corner and he starts booping his own nose, and it's like,
he's got to be onto something.
What is he talking? Am I doing it wrong? Just like rubbing the fucking tip of his nose.
If I just shove
something
up there.
Is this something? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right?